Hey folks, welcome to NTD Racing and this final episode of the M1102 build. Today we're going to close out Bob by getting the electrical on and also finishing up the awning, and then getting her out to the Anza Borrego Desert for a little bit of testing. If you like what you're seeing while you're watching this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It sure helps us out. Let's go ahead and get to it. Let's take a quick look at all the stuff we're going to use for the electrical on the Bob build. First, we got this 100 amp deep cell battery here that we'll be using. That'll go up in the front. And then what I think is kind of cool and unique that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be using a rifle case to hold all the electronics. They're waterproof, they're lockable, all those things. I think it'll be also pretty clean install, and it gives us a ton of room. We'll have the inverter in there, a fuse box. Power's going to come in from the solar into this box right here, and this is called the Serene Life two-piece portable mono solar panel starter kit. So we'll be using one of those. As the power comes in from the battery, we'll have this disconnect switch. A charger, as you know, when you're at home, you just want to get that battery topped off, we'll have a charger on there. And it'll leave also plenty of room over here to keep all the wires stored. So what we're going to make for this is I'm going to try to make a plate where all these things will mount on. It'll raise it a little bit so I can run all the wires behind. I really like to have a really clean looking wire panel, so we'll see what we can't do with that. The wires will come out of this box, go through the back and through Bob and into this switch junction right here. And what we're going to use for that is we've got a sprinkler system box, one of the Orbit boxes, and we'll run all of the power into here for the different switches, running the actuators for Bob, and then also a switch panel. Something like this. This thing won't actually fit in there, but something that looks kind of like this will run across here for all the other lights, USB chargers, and all those things that'll be on Bob. So let's go ahead and get to that. First, we're going to get into the Fusion 360 on the plasma cutter to make the panel they'll be using inside the rifle case. I use Fusion 360 for all of my computer-aided design and computer-aided manufacturing, all that CAD/CAM stuff. And I really love the way it just makes everything easy. I take a couple dimensions, I put it in here, it takes me about 10 minutes, and the part looks good, makes you look really smart because everything is square and all that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and get this panel onto the Langmuir Systems Crossfire Pro CNC plasma table and let that thing do all the work cutting it out. Well, if you think this thing is cool like I do, then check out some of the other videos I have on my YouTube channel. In just about every one, I'm making some part for either the truck or Bob using the Langmuir Systems Crossfire Pro. If you think you might be interested in one of these tables, there's a link at ntdracing.com where you can check out one of these tables for your own shop. Well, bear with me. This is a video about doing electrics for the trailer, and if you're trying to do one yourself, then this is how I do it. I'm not trying to give you instruction, just showing you what I do. If you're interested in any of the tools that you see us using here, I'm going to provide a link to those on ntdracing.com, and you can just fish through the store and find stuff for Bob there. This is a really cool way that I make just basically the cables that I'm going to run to the battery, so the heavyweight stuff. And I've used this tool right here for making all kinds of battery terminal ends, and also for making a cable railing system in my garage. So it's a swaging tool also, and it works really well, and it just isn't that much money to get it into your garage. Once I get all the electrical connections put onto the wires, I will usually put the heat shrink on before. In this case I didn't, but it was okay because I have some really big heat shrink that I use also on number 2 wire. But the heat shrink that I use on anything I get, and I'll again put the link in my at NTD Racing, I use 3-to-1 heat shrink, and it has to have adhesive on the inside, and that just really locks it down. So it shrinks really good, and then once it heats up, that adhesive activates and it just locks it all together and takes away some of the stress off of the joint, makes it waterproof and all those things. And the last thing I want is to have any kind of electrical joints fail, especially if you consider, you know, either being out there overlanding, or for us when we're in the race truck in the Baja 1000, electrical something electrical fails and you're out there for a long time. So, I've kind of over the years just picked up different techniques and things that I like to use, like this heat shrink or these terminal ends I'm going to put on here, and the way that they crimp on, and they just don't fail. They're super durable. And so, like I said, if you're interested in doing this yourself, then hopefully you learn something by watching me do this, just some simple stuff that I learned along the way.
It really is disgusting to watch. Yeah, they're never going to let Donald Trump take credit for what he did. But take a look at this. I saw this and I couldn't believe it. This is Politico. It says, Biden and presidential PDA back to the White House. Quote, historians and relationship experts agree the first couple's romantic gestures aren't just genuine. Longer can the American people take this?
All right, just to give you an idea what I'm doing here, I've been got all the things mounted onto this metal plate, and I'm drilling holes through and putting just some rubber grommets in there, and I'll run the wires in and then over behind the plate and back up through other grommets to wherever they terminate, and that's just to keep it clean, and also to kind of give a stress relief, because that thing goes through there. If something tugs on that wire, it'll tug at the hole right here, but not necessarily at where the terminal goes. So let me show you quickly how I'm fitting everything on the back side of the panel that's going into the rifle case. This is kind of where the secret sauce is. You got all these wires in here, and if we just mounted it to the bottom of the rifle case, these things would bunch up and it'd be a problem. So what I did is I cut out these strips of wood. As you can kind of see, I'll put that there. And that's about where I'm going to put it inside the groove of the rifle case. And I cut one out for the top and for the bottom. All right, so simply with those pieces of wood there, the wires would not be able to pass through. So I'm going to have a second layer of these strips of scrap wood that I've got. One right there and one right there, because I'm kind of visualizing where these things are going to go, because they'll be flipped over, and where they're going to have to avoid the wire. So I got those pieces there. So here's a look at those pieces of wood in there now. Now you can kind of get an idea how that sits in there. It raises that plate up a little bit and lets the cables kind of fish in between the pieces of wood. Well, for the parents out there, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. You can still have your hobbies, once you have kids, but you got to do it at night. And so we tend to burn a little bit of the midnight oil as we try to get this thing done. So here we are working on the electrical and also popping that awning on there and getting that thing done.
All right, it is 11 p.m. on a school night here at NTD Racing Garage, and we are here with the Nomadic 270-degree Overland Vehicle Systems awning. This is the boss level awning, and it's pretty major. 86 inches tip to tip. We got a line here for 43 inches right here in the center. We're gonna put the first bracket up, measure it out evenly, put the other two brackets up. Let's get this bad boy up. It's like perfectly to scale. Dude,
It's almost like we planned that. We totally planned that. So this is one of my favorite parts of the whole setup, is we ended up using a rifle case to store all of the electrics inside. Let's go ahead and open this thing up and show you what we're doing on the inside of this to power Bob. The rifle case has these 4 clips on the top that open up pretty easily. All right, with the clips down, let's go ahead and take a look at all the stuff that we have inside here. I'll go all the way around the horn here. So this is just our master switch that goes right out to our battery, and we turn that on, provide power to the whole system. Down here we got the inverter. It does have a switch on the side to turn that thing on and get power to it. And this thing will power most of the things we'll be using with Bob as far as AC power is required. Up to our fuse panel. We're only pulling 5 different fuses off here right now. It's obviously expandable into 12, and then we have grounds in here, so a lot of ability to expand and put more switches and those kinds of things on this panel. This is where our solar is coming in, so our battery's going in and charging our battery from here. I put a ground bus on here, and this is what we have as far as our plug-in for just charging everything up while it's sitting at home, to make sure that when we go out we got a full fresh battery. So over here is where we're going to keep the cable for the solar power. Let's go ahead and pull this cable out, connect it to our solar panels, and show you how the panels will start to power the entire electrical panel. The battery installation took some thinking because we had to make sure that once the battery was in here, we were still going to be able to remove the stabilizers, and we can get those things out of here with the battery box in there. The strap goes over the top. There's a cover that covers the top and protects the terminal ends of the battery cables. And then the battery fits into this nice plastic box. Again, all these things, especially how I made these terminals, all the tools I use for that, you can find at ntdracing.com, or I'll try to put some of those in the description of this video below. But the box right here wouldn't fit in initially to the liquid container that was on the M1102, so I had to cut that thing down to make it fit in there. I left the back of it on there, and you really can't see it, but I did leave the back of that plate on there to give it some support. Besides that, this plastic box is bolted on the bottom with 2 of the original 3/8" bolts that were on the M1102, and this plate is the metal plate that was original here does still have its 3 original bolts, just only 2 of them are holding the battery case on there, and then the strap goes through the whole thing to help keep that battery in place while we're traveling down the road. We ended up using this Orbit sprinkler controller box for all of our electric switches, and you can see all the wires going out to the different circuits come out the bottom and underneath the chassis of Bob. All the wires going into it come in from the back, so you really can't see it, and I think it makes a pretty clean install. Once you open up the Orbit, you see all of our switches on the inside. This is the control panel for our inverter, and really all it does is tell us the status of the battery charge. We got this really generic, I think you got off of Amazon. I'll put a link in our description below, and also on ntdracing.com for where we got this. It gives us 5 switches to control lights and music and that kind of thing. Some USBs, our voltage meter, and then just your standard one each 12 volt output right there. Here's what I think is really cool that we figured out. We needed to figure out a way with the actuators on Bob going up and down to be able to control them all at the same time, or one at a time, or just one side or the other. So what we did is this switch right here always controls everything up and down. So if I push it up, all the actuators go up. If I push it down, all the actuators go down. Let's say one of them's moving faster than the other, or we're on uneven ground, and I'm like, I just really want to make the back left of Bob go up, but I want the other ones to stay where they are. I turn those off. Now I've disengaged those 3 actuators, and now just that one actuator will work, or I can do 2 at a time and make that side work. And this is the way we solved the problem, and it works really nice. And then finally, here's one of my favorite parts about this Orbit box is once you close it down, you get the clip on it, and you can clamp it down. That basically engages that sill all around, making this mostly waterproof, obviously, except for the hole we put in the bottom. And then it does have a lock, so you can go ahead and secure that, either so your kids don't get in there, or while you just have this thing stored, nobody just goes in and opens that up easily and starts flipping your switches or something like that. Pretty cool setup. It is so nice to see this build getting done, and it just went together really well. I think it was really a quality build. If you're interested in seeing how we got to this point, you can go back to our first video where we talk about how we got the M1102 trailer, our second video where we build the rack system, our third video where we put the CVT tent on top, and then this video. And now we're going to go head out to the Anza Borrego Desert and do a little camping, and we're going to sit around and talk about the performance of the tent. You can hear what the wives think about it, which is the most important thing. For reference for everybody, we are on Arroyo Salado in the Anza Borrego Desert. And yesterday we had Honcho out in Acatia Wells and just were raging, and that was a total blast.
Tore it up.
Yeah, the truck did amazing. And now we're out here with Bob, just doing what it's supposed to do. And I think it exceeded expectations. You guys had
Absolutely.
all 5 of you
Yep.
in there last night, and comfortable? Everyone slept well?
All 5 of us. I got a 5 out of 5 rating from my wife as far as comfort and warmth. So I think it passed the test.
I think for people who are looking at these things and like wondering how many people can you put in this comfortably, you guys had in the top, not even using the annex.
Right.
You had 2 adults and 3 children.
That's right.
And everybody was comfortable and had space. And then if you use the annex, you could either give yourself more space in the top, or you could even put more kids like mine in your
Yes.
tent while my wife and I enjoy our Sprinter. So
Yeah, way to outsource.
yeah.
No, the annex is really nice. It's fantastic for changing and for just like keeping the general kind of draft down and the overall camping experience. What really surprised me was how nicely the extra thick canvas insulated. Like it was so well covered, and we had some decent wind last night, and that thing blocked it all. So yeah, overall, like again, 5 out of 5 rating, super cozy, and we even got to enjoy some of the stars in the moonlight with the moonroof in the tent. So just totally stoked on how that thing worked out.
You know what I kind of really like about this build, and something different than our Sprinter is your ability to go deep in. Like you don't, like for the Sprinter, we're kind of on hard roads, and yesterday we pulled in here and we literally got stuck. We had to get your truck to pull the Sprinter out. I wish we had video of that because that'd be a great outtake.
Max
But just your
straps,
ability
I'd
to
say.
as deep in as your Sequoia can go,
Yep.
this thing can go, and so you're not limited, by having the roads. I guess it's the whole overlanding theme there, where
Yeah.
a Sprinter just can't get there without having somebody to pull them out. But,
Well, yeah, that's the M1102 kind of platform shining moment. Was literally the only thing that we did to this thing was kind of take off some old, stickers or whatnot, and it was ready to go. I mean, it was deep in it, and we didn't have to do any work on suspension or on clearance or anything. So it was really fantastic to have that thing and just feel real confident in it. The rack build, I mean, wow, so clutch. I didn't mention that on the 5 of 5, but a big thing for us last night was getting to flat and even. Did not have to put this thing on any sort of levelers or risers to get even, and we just went to the actuators here and dialed it up just perfect, and we were sleeping flat, and that was really helpful in a hurry when we got here. And it was just, the sun was setting, it was getting dark, just be able to throw this thing out here and just dial it in real quick. A+.
So yesterday we had the awning out. Today we left it in just because we're on the road. We didn't want to block the road, but dude, the awning's huge. I wasn't expecting that.
It's ginormous. I think that's the medical term for it. And it's giving, when it's open, it gives so much shade. I think it's around 130 square feet of shade. And what's fantastic about it took like a second to set up. I mean, they're like 4 straps that kind of hook together pretty quickly, and it is burly. Like there was a light wind going on yesterday, and those things were thick enough. You could tell it was a robust build, so I wasn't worried in any way about those things bending. And yeah, just fantastic. Super pleased with
The
it.
mount up was, I thought, super easy. A couple bolts we went and drove
Oh,
through
yeah.
there. The mount we got the video of it, probably about 10 minutes to put that thing up there, maybe a little longer. I always say everything takes 10 minutes. But the cool thing is available on Amazon, right?
On Amazon.
If you go to our NTD Racing page, any of the tools we use, any of the stuff, most of the stuff that we're going to have on Bob or even Honcho will be in our store. You can check it out if you're just wondering, where do you get that kind of stuff? And since we're an Amazon affiliate, you always help us pay for all this stuff, and especially the shocks on Honcho, so we appreciate it. So, Julie, how was your night sleeping last night?
It was really good. I highly recommend the every other. We threw 2 kids' heads at our feet, and that allowed for a lot more room.
Head to toe.
Head to toe. The pad is way better than a cot. It's
Way
very
better.
cozy,
All
very
3
comfortable.
inches. Yeah.
I
That'll
don't think
help.
you want to go. Like the object is not to have to leave in the middle of the night.
It is an emotional event. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, kind of half drowsy, to back yourself down that ladder. So yeah, using the baño before going in is definitely a best practice, so that does not have to occur. And also, just bringing all your stuff into common practice. Bring your water, bring your tissue paper, anything you need up into the tent. And that's what I did. So.
I like the color blue.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, you nailed it with blue. I think it looks.
I know the color.
Yeah.
The color is really good looking.
I think.
I've seen the brown out there. It's not as good. Blue is where it's at.
Yeah.
I think, the addition of the annex, we had this discussion this morning. The addition of the annex actually is a major upgrade if you
Major.
have the time and the energy to zip that sucker on. It's good.
s-
You come down, we had our bag of clothing there, changed. It's just nice.
I've heard a lot about this,
addition.
like if you have the extra time to set up the annex, but like there are 2 of us, we've only set it up like
I know, you guys
maybe
did it really
3
fast.
times
You did it
max
fast.
we've set it up, and it took us like, I would say, a cool 5 minutes with like no rework to be done. I think just like every time you should set up the annex because
it's nice.
it's a pretty quick to do, and with
And it also seems like in a wind, it stabilizes this side. It keeps the flapping from happening.
The whole thing. I mean,
yeah.
It wasn't as loud last night at all.
Structurally, it makes it better. Plus, when you're coming out of the tent and coming down, I mean,
it's nice.
It's helping to insulate the overall environment for your
you can almost get like a carpeted area down there or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And like the changing area is fine.
That's nice. We got, I can't wait in the future. We got, hopefully we're bringing this thing back out. I think we'll be out here in April in Ocotillo Wells for some more testing of honcho. You guys got a trip coming up to Zion, Northern California, pulling Bob a little bit further, maybe New Mexico this summer.
Indeed.
So we're really going to put it to the test and hopefully add maybe another video in this Bob series to maybe the trips that you guys are going to be on with this, and hopefully we'll join you guys for most of those. So that'll be pretty cool. And then, as far as the channel goes, the Bob series is for them. We got another build. We have honcho. You can check our playlist, and we're building this race truck. We're going to be racing the Baja 1000, the Vegas Reno this year. We're both drivers for that team, and then you'll be seeing more of Bob while we're out there. So you'll be seeing some cameos from Bob out there.
Fun.
Please don't forget to consider hitting the like and subscribe button below, and ringing the bell to get notifications for future videos. And with that, I call the Bob build done, and it was a total enjoyable build. So we'll see y'all next time. Take care of yourself. Cool. Nice. Anything else we got to add in?
There's a kid dancing in all of that video.
Oh.
I didn't want to stop you.
Dude.
It's so good.
We're just going to let that go.
Honestly.
I don't feel like we got enough Jenny.
Yeah, Jen, can you come out here and like photobomb us?
Yeah, come on, Jenny. You're not doing your job.
Jade, and that thing was... Hey.
There we go. The star has arrived.
Janet, high five.
Nice.
There you go.
Where's your phone at?
Where's my phone? It's getting charged on the back of Bob here.
And the photo. Oh, I'm from reservation.
Okay, see you later.
No. You already tipped it over last time.
Yeah, don't knock it over.
No more tippy tip.